If there was one sales tip, sales strategy, or some technique that would help you close more deals, what would it be? I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about how you could close more. And here's the thing. I get to ride with salespeople just about every single day, and I get to see what they do right. I get to see what they do wrong. I get to see their struggles. I get to see their wins, their losses. And this one thing, I'm going to let you know, stops people from closing deals consistently, and it's the inner critic in the back of the brain. And what happens is the salesperson is dealing with their buyer, and their buyer, for whatever reason, intimidates them. And so the salesperson starts going, well, maybe I might pull this part out of my presentation. Maybe I won't give this part of my presentation. Maybe I won't describe this one thing the way that I normally do, because for whatever reason, this person that I'm sitting with or talking to, I don't want to use my full sales process. And so what happens is salespeople pull back. This little inner critic's like, don't say that, don't do that. Not for like a danger reason, but because salespeople typically don't want to look dumb, they don't want to look silly, and they don't want to get judged. And I'm going to promise you, this costs salespeople money every single day. The inner critic in the back of the brain is going to tell you to not keep pressing when it's time to close. The inner critic in the back of the brain is going to tell you, don't give this part of your presentation. The inner critic in the back of the brain is going to say, don't call this person for a follow-up. And all this will result in a problem for you. And the problem is less income, less money, less closing rate, less consistency over time. And so you have to turn this critic off and go, hey, look, you know what? At some point, I am going to have to look dumb. At some point, I am going to have to look silly. And that's okay, because I'm going to close some deals because of it. Right? And so, the best people that I've had a chance to ride with, the best closers in the industries that I've worked in, they don't really worry about what the buyer is thinking. They don't really worry about like, oh my goodness, if I say this, it's going to make the other person nervous. Hey, in the world of sales, it's your job to say the tough thing. Just like it's my job to say the tough thing and tell you this, that there's quite a few salespeople out there right now today that are not closing deals because they're not willing to go through the sales process. They're not willing to ask the tough question. They're not willing to tell the story. They're not willing to present about their product, and they are not willing to close. And I will tell you, out of all this area, there is a huge danger involved, because as you start taking elements out of your process and out of your sales presentation, it makes it really easy to get to the end and go, well, I didn't do 1, 2, and 3, so I don't have to do X, Y, Z. I don't have to put this part in here. And I see this a lot in the closing process. If I could like climb into the brain of a salesperson and start saying, what is going on here? It's the inner critic saying, if I keep pushing after this close, the buyer's not going to like me. And some of this comes down to building too much rapport. I will tell you this, that most salespeople are inherently lazy. That does not include you. You're watching a video on how to get better. But most salespeople are lazy, and they just go into a sales call and they're just like, friend, 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 friend. So what do you think, friend? And then the person's like, well, I don't know. I got to think about it. And it's like, okay, well, you're my buddy. You're my pal. I'm just going to go ahead and wait. So this little inner critic that's in the back of your brain, I got to let you know, there are times where the inner critic in the back of my brain starts saying, don't do this, don't say this. Like, got a nervous energy, and I got to remind you, hey, look, my job is to close the sale. And you know what? Sometimes I have to step on some toes. Sometimes I have to make people uncomfortable. Sometimes I have to hold people accountable. And so, sometimes after too much rapport, the back of the brain, it's like, don't say it, don't do it. You're not going to have a friend anymore. And I have to remind myself, I'm not going fishing with this guy. We're not going to the game. We're not hanging out afterwards, right? This is something that I'm selling this person, and this is what they need for these reasons, and this is why I'm going to give it to them. So you have to shut down that inner critic in the back of your brain if you want to close more sales. Otherwise, you're going to face sales sabotage and create a bunch of problems for yourself. Now, if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story, that would be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there is a subscribe button. You know what you got to do, you got to subscribe. And then last of all, you can send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Why not even LinkedIn? Sylvan Bell. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.